Well, we're live again.
Welcome.
We're live from Redmond.
This is our first time in, or the second time in the studio, actually, but the first time in this new studio.
Yeah.
Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on today.
Well, thank you much for hosting us in this wonderful, wonderful studio. Give us some introduction of yourself.
My name is Jeff Fritz. You might have seen me. I do a little streaming myself. I'm a program manager. A little. I'm a program manager on Microsoft's .NET team. I focus on community. I focus on outreach so that folks like you that are out there watching us can learn a bit about .NET, about Visual Studio, and all the different cool things that we're doing here at Microsoft.
That's amazing, and you guys are really doing cool things. You know, we are at the MVP Summit. We're seeing all sorts of cool things. And before we move on, I just want to quickly show the guys on how it looks in the studio. I've got this whole setup here. Let me just maybe switch the screen. So this is like an Inception part. Just quickly show you around the studio. It's amazing. This whole tech that's on here. We've got this whole monitor going there. There's some lights at the back, and obviously you've got this background here, right? And then here's all the sound. So it's behind the scenes. It's much more complex, right? So, but it looks great. And to have a nice stream, it needs to sort of flow and needs to be high quality stuff. But ultimately, it's not that hard, hey, to get started.
No, it's interesting. Folks like Twitch and Mixer and YouTube have made it a lot easier for folks to get started doing streaming, doing video, because anybody can get a webcam, whether it's the camera that's on their laptop and they get started with that, or they have that webcam that they buy for a couple bucks and they can just attach to their computer, and everybody's got a microphone on their machine. So starting simple and small and have that great service out there that you can just attach to and configure. Yeah, you don't need a lot hardware-wise to get started.
Yeah. So from my personal experience, what I've done before is we used to party on Hangouts.
Yes.
At Google, at our conferences. So what we ended up doing was create a Hangout session. This was inspired by the ASP.NET Community Stand-Up idea. We had some mics, and then we had some proper clip mics because sound was important at conferences. But ultimately, what happened was we streamed everything towards Google, and we had Martin doing the switching.
Producing.
Yes. That worked out quite well, but sometimes the latency, sometimes the bandwidth is an issue, and which means if there's no got some friends.
We should have closed the door.
Oh yeah, we will do it now.
Okay.
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip: close the door to the studio.
Pro tip number 1: close the door. These things happen, and then it's good that it actually happened, but because things go wrong, right?
It's right. That's one of the things with live video. When you're doing a live event and you're in front of a crowd at a venue, right, or at somebody's office, things go wrong. Things change. The demos might not work. But when you are live on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, weird things happen, and they're going to be out of your control, and some things are going to be in your control.
Yeah.
So you've got to make the most of it.
And the funny thing is you can never preempt these problems, right? So if these things happen, you just have to do like a Scott Hanselman and just go with it.
Yes, you have to be able to react to it, handle it, make fun of it.
Yeah.
I meant to do that, and keep right on going.
Because if you keep on being serious, it's not fun anymore.
No. So and I've had way too many times where I've been working on some code and there was a git merge failure, right? And now I've got to resolve a conflict, and I don't know anybody who enjoys resolving conflicts.
Right. Yeah.
And it goes from bad to worse, and I feel terrible getting mad at, this code shouldn't have been written this way, and this shouldn't have happened that way, and the tool is failing me. And yeah, it's not fun. And you get to the end of that session, and you look back on that video you produced, and you're not happy with it because it's not a friendly, outgoing video.
Yeah.
We're doing the web shows for 3 years now, and I think every day of every week we have some issues that are going around for blooper rail.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about looking back, reflecting, and making fun of that, right? Saying, okay, yeah, we learned from that, and we're not going to do that again. We're going to move on and do better. And if there was no growth that came out of it, it would be a problem.
Right.
But when you grow, you learn, and you do that next really cool thing, good things happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we ended up doing Google things, and then what happened? There's our story about the conferences again. The internet connection dropped. That means there's no stream, there's no recording, there's no nothing, because we were dependent on YouTube for recording it, which was a bit sad, because we wanted the copy ourselves, and then later on putting it through. Then we started using OBS. Martin introduced me to OBS.
Yeah.
Amazing tool. So you guys go and get it. It's openbroadcastingsoftware.org or something?
Yeah.
obsproject.org.
obsproject.org, right? So.
Yeah, there are some clones around, but yeah, the original one is OBS itself.
No, it's not that one.
Not that one.
Not
no,
that
maybe
one.
it is obsproject.com.
obsproject.com.
Yeah, there it
No,
is.
this one. And it's free, right? So it's a
Yes.
free open source application
Yep.
that one can use to do live streaming. And when you open up for the first time, it looks complicated, right? As long as you start working with and playing around with it, it's really not that hard. Pro tip number 2: it doesn't have an undo button.
Yes. Oh my gosh! Isn't that the worst? So when you're using OBS, when you're using OBS, you're going to use it to build your layout. And right now we've got simple layout. Here's the camera. We've got a nice 4K camera on us that we're broadcasting, and you might put things in it like, you might put chat down the side. You might put a ticker somewhere or whatever, the little widgets and gadgets from Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Muxy, whatever. When you look at bringing those things in, you modify your layout. You add these things in, and like you're saying, Fanny, there's no undo. You move something, you bumped it a couple pixels, you can't Control Z and go back.
Exactly. Right. And it's auto-save. So I've got one open up that we sort of prepared beforehand. Just want to quickly run through it, what we have. So this is OBS, right? And this is normally kind of how our stream looks like. So what we have in our weekly stream, we have a Thursday night show about the SDN Cast, like today, speaking about specific topics, events and stuff. And then we have a small demo. And then Wednesdays, I try to do like live coding on Twitch and that kind of thing. So Martin does the office. Tuesdays. So we've got a whole week through, and you mentioned it's very important to be consistent.
Yes.
And it's hard, but it's important to be consistent, especially if you want to make partner on or
sure. Yes.
Or even affiliate.
Oh yeah.
to get there. So we have and structure is also important. So we have got this starting soon thing. And these widgets, it's important, it's cool because these widgets, like this chat, is just a browser.
Yes.
And that's amazing because if it's a browser as a web developer, it means I can do anything I want.
Yes.
So that makes me excited.
So I've taken that and I've written a little project called I call it Fritz Stream Tools, that has some of these little widgets that I would like to see.
You've
that
been
I would
working
like
on your own tools.
Yeah, because they're just web pages.
Yeah.
So I want to show
the fun thing is that you do it in live coding sessions.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. So I want to make it easy for folks to see. You can modify this. You can make OBS your own. There are free and easy tools out there that you can get, but yeah, there's my project that we've been working on. And the tools that are available from the companies that are out there, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Muxy, they're easy for anybody to download and use with their configuration. You don't need to be a developer to build it and use it.
Is this all .NET or is it?
This is all ASP.NET Core.
Wow.
So I actually run it on my machine at home when I'm broadcasting inside of a Docker container. A Docker container.
Yeah.
And
Pro tip number 3.
Pro tip number 3, remember your sponsors. They're not sponsoring me. Docker, I'd love you to sponsor me. So use the tools. We know, we as developers, this is a playground for us, right? They're web pages. We can do things with that. But not only are they web pages, Twitch and YouTube have API endpoints that we can connect into with HTTP.
Yeah.
Right? So now we can do cool things with that and set up webhooks. That's available out there. We can trigger things in the cloud to make interactions happen on our code, on our video, not through our code into video. That's pretty cool to be able to do. I've got a friend. She has a Shopify store. She's running a little creative stream where she's quilting on Twitch,
I've
right?
been watching that. So
It's so much fun to watch, and she's got all kinds of fun things happening, and her dogs run around.
Yeah.
And she started relaunching her Shopify store, and it'd be really cool. I said to her, if we could get a notification when you made a sale.
Right.
So now Shopify has a webhook. We have the webhook go through, fire a SignalR notification that comes into her OBS, puts a logo up, and plays a sound effect of a cash register.
Nice.
Bring! Tony made a sale.
Nice.
Yeah, wow.
Oh my gosh, everybody sees it, everybody gets happy. But here's the unintended side effect. People see that and they're like,
I want to be in there.
they'll go and buy things.
Yeah. To actually, yeah.
To make the thing appear,
Yeah.
I did that, I made that
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah.
That's my purchase.
But it's interesting you mentioned that, because on your stream that you have, C# Fritz on Twitch, you have the same thing, right? You have the sentiment analysis going on.
Yes.
So would you maybe
Oh my
elaborate
gosh.
that?
Okay, so we know what sentiment analysis is, right? So we can look at some text, we can listen to somebody's voice, and we can figure out if it's positive or negative. Now, my stream is all the chat is in English, typically. And what I did was I set up a bot. Now, the Twitch chat is all IRC. We know how to interact with IRC. That's a TCP client endpoint.
Right.
So I connect in with my bot and listen, and as the text goes by, I grab the messages, send it to Azure Sentiment Analysis, and I get a value between 0 and 1, right? The closer to 1, it's more positive. Closer to 0, it's more negative. And I plot that number, I calculate an average, and I put it on screen along with a smiley face that
yes.
indicates, whether the last message was positive or negative. And then the trend is next to it.
Yeah, so you now show the number of viewers and the sentiment and whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now that's led to the unintended consequence of, while people are watching my stream, if they see that number going down, people will start talking up and get, hey, isn't this great? Look at the neat stuff that's happening in chat room. I didn't plan that. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
But people have started seeing, and when I watch the replay, I notice that folks in the chat room see that sentiment analysis like a score. They want a high score on there.
Gamification kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's this unintended,
Yeah.
we want the
could
chat
also
to be
turn
happy.
around, the other way around.
I'm waiting for that to
So
happen.
trolls it.
Let's see how, like it's golf. We want to get a low score.
But that's typical crowd behavior, right?
It is.
Yeah.
You're right.
And now in terms of chat, obviously there can be people that's harmful, right? And
Sure.
for a stream to be completely nice, because it's public, we're all human beings, we have to respect each other.
Certainly.
How do you deal with, I don't know if, hopefully it never happened to you before, people coming in being negative on the stream, maybe swearing? Are there any tools that can help us to stop that?
I've got two of them right here. No. What I do is I have a number of moderators. Moderators will catch things that the Twitch auto mod doesn't catch. Now, Twitch auto moderation will catch folks that are swearing, folks that are using non-family friendly language, right? I have mine turned most of the way up to be very family friendly, right? For a developer stream, I want to make sure that folks are welcomed. We're inclusive. We don't want anybody turned away because they feel bad, right? So I have it turned, the auto moderation turned very aggressive so that it limits negative talk. And some people, they'll find that while what they might be saying is acceptable in their home, it's not acceptable in my chat. And they question that, and they'll push back on me. Jeff, I wanted to say, and it blocked me. Yeah, you're right, it did. And I don't want that in my chat. And that's okay. There's other words we can use without having to resort to colorful language.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that you built yourself in the chat window.
well, the automod, I didn't build that.
Oh,
That's
I
a
thought
Twitch
you
thing.
also put in the filter,
I started looking at doing that,
but it was already there.
but it was already there. And actually, let me come back. There's one about images that I'm working on. So the other thing that I do is I have strong moderators. When you're on Twitch or YouTube or Mixer, wherever, you need to have moderators. That person that's going to know this person is being a little bullying. Let's pull them back. Let's give them a timeout. And then, if they continue, all right, we're gonna get rid of you. You're banned from the session. I have had people troll me. I did the entire month of October. I called it Ubuntober, and I did everything on Ubuntu Linux.
Yeah.
And I had somebody come on, and they were not happy first that I was calling it Linux. It's not Linux.
Oh,
it's
no.
GNU. Like, this is what the world calls it. If I call it GNU and I promote that
No
I'm
one knows
using
what you're
GNU,
talking about.
nobody knows what it is. But if I'm using Linux, and one or two individuals were not happy, and they made it very well known, and we had to ban them.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge. I feel terrible doing it, but that's not the purpose of my channel, is to debate those. You go get that in line, you figure out what it should be called, and we'll make that happen. But
At the end of the day, it's your own stream, and you need to be responsible for people seeing it.
great point. Yes,
So-
as the broadcasters, we are responsible. Yeah.
So if you think about television, if something happens in television of a program, I don't report the movie or the episode. I report the channel.
Yeah.
Although
Good
they're
point.
not responsible for the content, they're responsible sending it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as streamers, it's very much important to have that responsibility and making sure that our content that's reached out there get in the right hands, but also in the right way.
Yes. Oh, very, very much so. You feel bad when folks are misbehaving, but you're right. It is our responsibility.
Just want to quickly go back to the kind of demo we have.
Yeah.
So this is the intro thing, and then OBS has this notion of scenes, right? So we can switch the scene. So and then this is the starting soon scene that you also kind of have in your thing, in your stream.
Mm-hmm.
And typically we have the chat there, and then if we want to switch to something like the main, for instance, now this would have had a video in the middle. And it has like text, and this is the main stage, right? But the problem is switching these scenes like this. Oh, there's like endless thing going on. Switching the scenes like this with the mouse is a bit of a mission, right?
You've got to get that mouse on the exact right point. You've got, what, 30 pixels there you've got to fit it into. And
especially with the Surface Book with the graphics so small. So that's why it's important.
4K screen.
Yes.
yes.
So that's why it's important to get this little guy. It's this is called Stream Deck.
Yes.
From Elgato.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also just and it's got a bunch of buttons. Maybe you're a pro user of Stream Deck.
Oh
Maybe talk us through it. Wrong one. This one. This is
sure.
This is
So they make two different Stream Decks. The one that we have here and the one that you saw on that screenshot. This is
The little one, yeah.
this is the larger one with 15 buttons. They make a smaller one with only 6. It's nice to have the choice and choose a smaller one, but for the kinds of things that we do, where you're modifying, you're controlling things in OBS, you're changing camera angles,
Right.
you're turning on and off sounds, you're playing sound effects. You need more buttons. 6 buttons isn't enough. So
I noticed.
yeah.
I bought the small one, and then luckily my wife bought me the big one for
There you go. Now you've got 2. You can
That's what
use multiple
Oh,
next to
yeah.
each other.
You can daisy chain them, which is great.
I use 3.
Oh, really?
Pro tip number 4.
But right, these buttons are completely configurable. Right, they're each individual screens that you can light up to do whatever. And whether it's changing scenes in OBS, like I said, playing sounds, turning on and off camera angles, whatever. Start and stop streams. I also use mine to automate tweets.
Yeah, that's cool.
I did,
So-
yeah, same. When you start broadcasting, you can automate it in.
Send out that
to
tweet,
live.
hey, we're starting.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and using the Stream Deck is actually just for switching streams. And like you mentioned, you can aggregate multiple actions
Yes.
to it, and then before the broadcast you mentioned that we said how long does it take to start streaming? You said 30 seconds.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and it's tools like this that can help, right?
Right, because I've automated all of my setup for my stream, I have one button that opens OBS, sets up that Docker container with my stream tools running in it, that opens my chat monitor program. I don't have it turn on the lights yet. I need to figure out how to turn on the lights. But it'd be great if it would turn on my lights also, so that everything was set. Activates the camera, and then I do a quick check, make sure that all my lighting is proper, because I use a green screen on mine, so that everything's so that there's no artifacts or anything, right? If all of that looks good, I have another button that I press that sets the appropriate scene for the startup, like you saw with yours. Turns off the camera, mutes my microphone, plays the startup music, and starts Twitch, all in one shot.
Is this an idea? This is just a quick brainwave I got, to have like a unit test for the stream. Think about it. If you can have a button that says, okay, pre-live,
check everything.
Check everything. That checks your sound. That checks your images. Is it possible to extend it in that way?
So you can't. Okay. Each one of the things that happen on the buttons here, why don't you go to the screen so we can see the buttons. Each one of the things that you see happen on here, there's this tray of what they call actions on the right. And you see OBS Studio, there you go, Control Center, and all these different actions that you can do. They've now issued an SDK where you can build your own actions.
Right. Okay.
And that SDK is, you can either write a JavaScript web page that'll be interpreted and turned into an action, or you can write a command line exe that it'll call into, and you'll establish a WebSocket connection back from it.
Okay.
So we took that SDK that they published, this definition, and we actually wrote a .NET toolkit around it.
Okay.
So that you have a .NET standard library, a template, and the tools you need to build one of these actions.
Is this on your repo?
It is on. So I have another repository called Fritz and Friends. Or there you go, Stream Deck Toolkit. There you go.
Cool.
So you can install this. It's all .NET Core, so it'll run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Stream Deck is only on Windows and Mac, so really Windows and Mac.
Okay.
But you build a command line exe. It's .NET Core. We know how to do that.
Yeah.
And you can write a action class to respond to the button press and go do whatever other things. So to what you're describing of, can you unit test that? Sure. Press the button, and now you're going to have to figure out how to go sniff the sound to make sure that's configured
you have to find
properly.
out it's actually working.
Well, if you look at unit tests, you have expectations on your test. So if you say, I expect the volume to be this much for this output,
Sure.
kind of thing, I expect the stream to be working,
So maybe to test the sound, you play a sound effect and you check the level that was actually output. Okay.
Also,
sure.
maybe one for the lights, because probably you would be using something like Philips Hue or something to power your lights. It will just quickly flash. It's fine.
Sure.
Sure.
And look then not at right. So you flash the light and you look at the video that's being captured, and see if it's the appropriate
if
color.
It's, some flashing in it.
Yeah.
You can use that.
Yeah. Could be done.
Maybe with machine learning as well, right?
Sure. Yes. But it sounds like it would be very custom.
Would be very custom.
Yeah.
Doable though.
Yeah. But
if there was a way to make it more generic so that you could customize it. I think you're onto something there. It would be very interesting.
It would be very interesting.
I don't know about broad appeal, but definitely interesting and useful, right? Well, let's face it, everybody's, when you talk about a device like this that you can customize for your needs, everybody's got something different, right? Here in this studio, right, we've got it configured for our camera that's over there in our PCs, and the mixer the audio mixer we're plugged into, and your video that you're outputting from your PC, and if ours were connected also, to have to manage those. So we've got this configuration. But sure, when you're at home, when you guys are in your home studio, you've got it configured for your settings, and I've got it differently for mine.
Yeah.
That's what makes this thing so great.
And yeah, so this is Stream Deck. So you did a blog post once on your stream setup.
Yes.
How? Because I've now quickly mentioned how we did that in the beginning. And quickly run us through that blog post. What do you have? What kind of gear do you use? Now we mentioned green screens, stuff like that.
Sure. So when I'm at home, I actually have really cheap lights. All right. So I went to the hardware store and I bought lights on a clamp.
Yeah.
You know, and I plugged a fluorescent light bulb into them, and I have them pointed at the wall in front of me, so it reflects off the wall. I don't need to diffuse the white wall that's in front of my computer monitors. Reflects the light back onto me.
Yeah.
I have a green screen from Fava Tech, is that company, that I have behind me. And I leave it always behind me now, so when I call my colleagues here, you know, whether the Channel 9 folks or the folks on the .NET team, and they see me on Skype or on Microsoft Teams, they see the green screen behind me all the time. Sometimes I like to play games and remove the green screen and put a picture of my office there instead. And
but
then
a great tip, I think, was for the green screen that you put on some lights below, sending out green light.
yes.
Because I also noticed on my own green screen that sometimes it gets blurry if it's some light from outside hitting it.
That's a very good idea.
Right, so I have windows behind me on the other side of the green screen, so when it's really bright outside, it can alter the green color that I expect.
And then it gets blurry.
Yeah, OBS expects to see one shade of green that it's going to remove.
Yeah.
So using the green lights on it, and I learned that from a friend on Twitch. She goes by Fierce Kittens, and she's a crafting streamer. I've learned so much from her, and she said, "Oh yeah, you got to check these out. They're cheap little lights that you might use in the winter holiday to light up your house." And I just have them sitting on the floor.
They're little LED beamers.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can set whatever color I want on them, so that easy to do.
That's interesting you say about the green light, right? So because it's a green screen and green light, because if you do white, it's greener, right? Or doesn't that matter?
It alters the green.
Yeah, okay.
It'll reflect. But if you do green on the green screen, where you might have had a shadow,
the benefits you
it fills
removing
it.
the shadows.
Yeah.
Because that's also one of my problems. You know, I also have a green screen and it works 99% of the time, but there's always that one shadow.
Yes. For me, it's right here. There's one right here that always happens. So I have a light there that fills in.
That's cool.
So
that's your backdrop. Let's quickly talk about sound.
Okay. So you showed when you were panning around the room here, you showed the audio mixer that we have down front here. I was using a Rode Podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Mic you can get here in the States. You can get it for $150 on Amazon. I now use an Audio-Technica mic, like some of these ones that we have over here, just off scene. And I use that mixer that we have down there. I have 8 channels on the mixer. There you go. That's what it looks like. So this is a cardioid mic. I think that's the AT2020.
Where do you see that?
Yeah, AT2020. It's got a wide diaphragm on it, so it really picks up a lot of your voice. I have mine on a boom, on an arm, so that when I'm typing, you don't hear the vibration of me typing.
Right.
Now, I use a mechanical keyboard so you can hear me type. You can hear the click, click, click.
Yeah, with the clicker keys.
Yeah.
That's quite cool.
But you would hear the thunder of the table.
But that's also why it's important to have that little diffuser thing. What do you call it?
The spider.
Right. Oh my gosh, shock mount.
The shock mount, yeah.
So, and that's what those things are on it, right? The little shock mount on it, so that they adjust. It's actually it's weird. It's a couple of elastic bands that hold it in place. Yeah. So they move independently. Yeah. And so I have one of those on the boom microphone, and with the audio, the professional audio mixer, and I tune it appropriately for this voice, so that folks can hear me better and hopefully enjoy the stream.
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to quickly bring up your blog. It was called the Live Streaming
101. So that's the one I did last year. This was my initial setup.
The initial one, right?
And my microphone, my arm, the shock mount, I had those from when I was a Pluralsight author. I took some of that first money that I got from Pluralsight, bought great gear, and that's what I used. I used the camera that I had. It was a Logitech camera. It's a great camera. Oh, we don't need to see that face. But that's how you set up they call it a filter when you use the green screen. And you can see, actually, look at that picture of the green screen again. You see how the shadow is coming off the back of my chair?
Yeah.
That's what I need to fill in, and that's why I have those extra lights.
I see, yeah. And you said you had another one, the 2019 edition,
there
right?
you go.
So this one. If it loads up in a sec. Right, so you have this one with Balmer.
Yeah, that's the alert that I have that pops up whenever somebody clicks follow, right?
Yeah.
On Twitch we have the follow feature. On YouTube they call it subscribing, but when you click follow, Mr. Balmer pops up and welcomes them with a hearty developers.
Yeah. I've seen that. That's quite amazing, and it's yet again it's stuff you can do in OBS.
Yeah.
And it's just video you put in, based on certain events.
Yeah, and you can put in several events like donations or subscribers or whatever.
Absolutely.
So another site to take a look at is Streamlabs.
Yes.
You actually said to me I should use Streamlabs initially, and are you still using Streamlabs or something else?
I switched to Stream Elements. So they're a competing company. They've got some other features that I think are a little bit more robust. And they have a different way that you can manage your layouts. But
a little issue last couple of months.
They're both running into, I think, capacity issues because so many folks are using them. But
they're going down on popularity.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. But what they're supposed to do, there's an option to do text to speech when some of these events happen. So when somebody subscribes, I want it to read, whatever text it is they put with their subscription text. And sometimes it doesn't come up. Okay. They're overflowing their capacity, I don't know what, but these things happen. Fine. So, but they have all kinds of little gadgets that you can set up, widgets that run in your stream, that run with a bot, listening to the folks in the chat room and responding.
So I've kind of got it open now, and I think I've been using it.
Yep, that's Stream Elements.
This is Stream Elements, right? So, and then you said you've got my overlays and stuff like that.
So in overlays, you'll see the ability to build out how you want your
don't have any overlays.
Your website to look.
I see. Are there templates and stuff?
There are templates.
There's modules and bots, and there's so many things you can do. I mean, the world's your oyster if it comes to streaming, I would say.
It is. But there's also something to be said for minimalism, right?
Yeah.
You can add all kinds of widgets and gadgets, and right now we're just a plain, camera shot, but when you start adding things, they can get distracting.
Too busy, yeah.
Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt. How much do you really need, right? I include the chat in my video because I want folks in the recording, right, when they watch afterwards on YouTube, I want them to see
feedback and
I want them to see the discussion. I have a ticker that goes by on the top of the screen that shows here's the folks that have contributed to our GitHub projects. Fine.
Yeah.
And then me overlaid on the bottom. All right, that's not
the benefits
too
that you get
far.
interactive with your active audience.
Yes.
That's the fun part, I think.
Oh my gosh, it's tremendous.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a good thing. But like I said, a little goes a long way too. There are some folks that believe in minimalism and they have just a little text bar on the bottom with their name, and if they wanted to show numbers, they might be there. But
yeah, and sometimes it's not worth it making it too complicated because you will end up making it simple anyway. Because you will find out that it's I'm one of the guys that just make it way more simpler and then just go with, because it's not about the widget really, it's about the content at that moment.
Use the widgets to enhance the content. And if they don't enhance the content, remove it. I have goals and things that I push my folks. Hey, if we get to, right now, if we get to 7,000 followers before build, I'll dye my beard rainbow for build. Okay? All right, fine, that's something fun. They're not going to get there. We're not doing it. It's not happening.
So not happening.
We can't get there. So if you really think that this thing should be dyed rainbow, we got to get more folks just clicking the follow button.
Well,
And it's
you have
easy.
the
It's
launch
free.
on April the 2nd, so maybe you get the numbers up for April the 2nd for the Studio Lounge, and you'll... what's the current number?
5,700 is where we're at. We've got to get another 1,300 in the boat in the next month and a half.
Wow. Okay.
That's the challenge.
That's a challenge. That's why it's a challenge. We'll see.
See, also aggregating all these information, you could use OBS to stream to Twitch directly.
Yes.
But if you're a fan of, Facebook Live and Twitch and Periscope, there's a thing called restream.io that you've told me about last year. Are you using that still, or
No.
you just going to Twitch?
Just going to Twitch.
And why is that?
So, at the beginning of February, I was graciously awarded Twitch partner status.
Okay.
So when Twitch has 3 different broadcaster statuses: community, affiliate, and partner. Community is anybody that's broadcasting out there. You get a fixed transcoding, fixed resolution, whatever you're broadcasting at, that's what goes out. And you can't do emotes and cheers and these funny things. When you hit a certain amount of activity, you can then become a Twitch affiliate. And they'll start transcoding when the transcoders are available, no guarantee. And you can start to put a limited, very small number of emotes, and you can collect on cheers. When you become partner and you're really committed to the platform, you get a whole lot more of those. You always get transcoding, but you're also required to live stream exclusively to Twitch.
I see. Okay.
So I, as a partner, cannot
use Restream.
Use Restream.
Any other one then.
Right.
But it's also a cycle, because you want to use Restream because you want to get the views. And if you're partner, you're already on the level that you're having a lot of views.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing with Restream, though, is you're now segmenting your audience. You're now telling folks, don't come over to Twitch. You can stay over on YouTube or on Facebook. But I can send messages over to those places and say, you know what, for best experience, come over to Twitch. We're going to be over there. Or you can catch the recording later when we export it over to this other platform.
So that's allowed. Interesting that you mention it. So afterwards, can you make it available on all those channels? But for live,
yes,
it's exclusive to Twitch.
Yes.
It's a very good point. Pro tip number 5?
Sure.
Twitch only or what?
Yep. And you're supposed to be that way with at the affiliate level. Sometimes they take action on that. Sometimes they don't. That's not a game that I want to get into playing. No. So that's fine. I broadcast exclusively to Twitch right now.
And the main aim is, as soon as you get affiliate or partner, to go on like that, because it doesn't mean I can reach partner and just stop and be partner, or do I need to continually on that pace to stay partner?
Twitch reevaluates folks.
All right.
They want to make sure that the folks that are partner status are actively broadcasting, are actively engaging their community and growing. And if they're not, they'll remove partner status. They'll bump you back down to affiliate. And they might take you back up to partner later, but there are folks that have been knocked down to affiliate. And that's okay. If it's something that you're not doing anymore,
yeah, obviously, yeah.
Okay, move on, we'll do something else. That's fine. So.
And what about rewards, like contributions and stuff? Can you make money off Twitch?
Certainly, yes, absolutely. The top streamers.
I think that's the thing the gamers are doing.
Yes, the gamers, the folks that are playing games actively on Twitch make a couple pennies here and there. They're doing quite all right. When you have a subscriber on Twitch, right? That's somebody who's paying a couple bucks to turn off advertising. In the States, you get paid $2.50 for every subscriber. This is documented, it's available, you can find it in the help documentation. Some of these folks that are on the high end of Twitch streaming have 20,000 subscribers. So each month they're making $50,000. Yeah. And that's just in subscribers. They'll also set up and take donations.
Right.
So you can pay them directly. Don't go through Twitch. You can pay them directly, $5, and they'll give you whatever access or whatever's in return for that donation. Okay, that's not what I want my viewers to do. I'm not actively saying to my viewers, you need to subscribe. No.
Only if you want the rainbow beard to be.
No, that's the following. That following will do that. And following is free.
So what's the difference between following and subscribing then?
Yeah, following is free, and that just gives you a notification that, hey, Jeff's going live.
I see.
Right? You get that notification, and when you go to Twitch, there's a thing up at the top that says following. You can click into that, and it'll show you, here's the folks that you're interested in who are currently broadcasting, or here's their most recent videos at the bottom of that. So no impact and easy way to get notified. And you don't just get an entry here on the web browser, but you also get phone notification, you'll get text notification if you want that, an email if that's what you want, and you can tune that for each one of the channels that you follow. The subscription removes the advertisements that Twitch puts on those channels to cover the cost of the bandwidth of broadcasting these folks.
Right.
So you're paying for part of that directly, so they'll remove those advertisements, and for subscribers they get access to the channel's custom emotes.
And if I cheers someone on Twitch, you know, I have to pay.
Yes.
To
so
cheers, right?
A cheer uses a currency on Twitch that they call bits.
All right.
In the States, 1 bit is 1 penny. So when someone cheers 100 bits, it's $1.
Right.
So okay, $1 American, fine. You know, that's when you look at that, that's not bad. You know, hey, you know what, Jeff? Here's a cup of coffee. I'm going to cheer 500 bits. There's $5. You can buy a Starbucks coffee. You know, thanks so much. I had a great time. But then you'll see folks that cheer crazy amounts, 10,000 bits. That's $100. Like, wow. Okay, thank you. You know, as a broadcaster, I'm flattered when people cheer significant amounts. You know, hey, great, you want to cheer 100 bits and say, hey, thanks so much for whatever. You know, it's a nice tip, I'm flattered, and I want to thank them for that. When there's larger cheers, I don't know what to do, right? I'm like, there are some folks that when they get those larger cheers, they go to tears. They're, you know, because...
Which is also entertaining to watch, most probably.
Yes. Yeah. Some people, there are some folks that are a little bit more well off with, and they're free to spend their money, and they enjoy making folks cry on Twitch. Yeah. There's one streamer who goes by the name Mr. Beast, who gets a sponsorship of tens of thousands of dollars, and he'll go and try to make Twitch streamers cry by cheering and donating $1,000. Like, there's that streamer's rent for the month.
I'm an easy crier.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, that's his gimmick. That's what he does, and then he takes that video, edits it, and puts it on YouTube, and it pays off for him. Yeah. Okay, fine. I think in our space, there's more interesting ways for a streamer to make money. Yeah. I'm not a fan of saying you must pay for me. No, I don't want viewers to do that. I want to pay it forward and support other organizations that are trying to teach and educate our community. So right now, I'm actually contributing to Black Girls Code. And that's an organization that helps. That helps women of color, young girls that want to learn about technology. Yeah. Help them with an opportunity to learn and get that first job, get into the community, and get them started on their career on the right direction. So if I can you know, thank folks for their subscriptions and pay it forward to this organization.
You double the subscription. What is
so my employer will match my donations. Yeah. So
that's great.
That's fine. That's not a problem, and it makes everybody happy.
Yeah. I also saw you as you were live coding. You've been noting the
cheers.
The cheers.
So I started a program. I talked to some folks at Twitch when I was at their conference back in September. They call it TwitchCon, and we're talking about different ways to engage folks with cheers. And as a streamer who writes code, how do I engage folks with cheers? There's nothing like, hey, great, you won the battle, you cleared the board, you did the thing, you won the soccer game. Listen to me, American. You won the football game, and there's nothing to cheer like that. But when you're writing code, I can recognize folks by putting a comment into the code that says, hey, here's a cheer for this number of bits, and it came in from so-and-so on this date. Yeah. And it stays with the code so that we can see, here's the folks that supported the writing of this. They cheered for it while we were writing this code. Fantastic.
And then you can do interesting stuff on that, like Roslyn and stuff like that.
Exactly. So I started writing a little bit of Roslyn code, right? The compiler, right? The compiler for .NET runs as a service. So let's take the compiler, analyze those comments, and now we can generate a supporters page that goes with the code.
Nice.
This code was supported by, generous donations by these folks.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah. But it's the least that I can do to recognize and thank those folks for their contributions.
I think the work that you're doing is amazing in the community.
Oh, thank you.
I'm definitely a fan of your stream. I think we need to wrap up actually because it's almost done. The main takeaway I think here is to start simple.
Yes.
Your stream. Also, start small.
What do you think about growing an audience? Because the number of audience you have now a big audience. Obviously, you also started with 1 subscriber.
Yeah.
What do you say to the audience? How to grow an audience?
That's a good point.
Twitch is a community, just like our technical communities that we have in real life. You're not going to start a community by just hosting a meetup and hope people come, or starting a video and hope people find you.
Is it consistency or?
You need to promote in Twitter or Facebook or other places where folks will find you. Yeah. Blog posts. Go into other folks' channels, and it's considered bad etiquette to promote yourself in somebody else's channel.
Right.
But to go into somebody else's channel and hang out and ask the streamer questions. Hey, what is it that you're writing? What is it that you're? Yeah. What game are you playing? Oh my gosh. Yeah. You know what? I tried Apex Legends, and I wasn't too good with this character. What do you think of? And engage and have those discussions. Folks see then that you're interesting, and they can click on your name in chat, figure out where you are, and go watch you later.
Right.
So get involved. Twitch is more than just the couple of folks that you know about that are out there. Yeah. There's tens of thousands of broadcasters. It's an amazing quilt of all these different personalities.
There's a lot of.
Go check them out. You're gonna find somebody that's interesting to you, and participate. If you're a good personality hanging out in their chat room, there's a good chance that them and some of their followers will come and follow you over on yours. And I've spent a lot of time doing that, visiting other streamers, talking, encouraging folks in those places, and they come back around and find me.
Yeah. What we found, we are doing the webcast every Thursday. It is. The numbers of followers stayed a little bit low, but as soon as we started going into live coding, that really makes some change, and we're now slowly going up.
Yep. And then there's a gimmick they have on Twitch called raiding, right? So when you finish your stream, you can take everybody that's in your chat room. You could say, okay, now we're going to go and we're going to raid Jeff's channel, right? And what that does is it sends all of them over to that other channel, and you host that other channel all in one shot. So everybody suddenly arrives like a plundering party. We're raiding, we're here, we're going to take over the chat room. Rawr! And it becomes a little bit of a thing and a little bit of a joke with streamers. Oh my gosh, look who's here, this is so great. Thanks so much for joining us. And then it's polite to introduce yourself to the new folks that have joined us. Hey, thanks so much. We had 20 folks that just joined us, and here's what my name is Jeff Fritz, and here's what we're working on, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I hope you stick around and join us, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for yet again having us and for donating your time yet again for our webcast. I've learned so much as well now on this conversation. I hope you guys also learned a lot. And if you have any comments or questions or feedback, please let us know. Does Twitch have like a feedback thing?
They don't have a feedback thing, but you can whisper people. It's like a private message.
I see. Okay, so whisper me or Martin. You're also on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
What is your Twitch?
Yeah, I have a difficult one. AAFVSTAM, like my name. And if I'm commenting in your blog, in your stream, you always have difficulty with my name.
I do.
But the difficult thing is you can't change it in Twitch. You can change your normal name, but not your alias.
You can. There's a way to do it.
Unless you create a complete new one.
Nah, there's a way to do it. I've seen people do it. It can be done. You have to go through a couple of steps to do it. It's not hard. It's not easy to find. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, next week we are back in the Netherlands, returning back home from Redmond, from the MVP Summit that we are currently here for. And Fani will do the live coding on .NET Core. I will do the live coding on Office development. And on Thursday we have the general SDN Cast. And hope to see you next week from the Netherlands.
Cheers. Thanks. Because we don't have the things here, we just need to do that quickly.